Hello my friends, and welcome back. I'm happy to report that I've completed the planning for my 3 veggie beds, and I'm going to give you an update as to where we are with that so that you can see how I have already started the planting for the winter season. However, before I do that, I want to give you a couple of updates on some things that were left hanging from the last video. Number one, I haven't received the feedback for the test analysis on the soil on the veggie beds. So that means I am not going to amend the soil yet or I have not done it, and I will not do it until I get the results back, because I want to really understand what's the state of the soil, of the nutrients in the soil. And the second one is I'm not going to remove the mulch on the beds yet, because although I suspect the mulch might be taking away the nitrogen on the surface of the soil, I am not sure. And so I'm going to leave it on there as it's been all summer. It's been great all summer. It's been very, very beneficial for the soil. I'm going to leave it there, and then when I get the results of the test analysis, I will decide on what to do with the mulch, and I will decide how I'm going to amend the soil, if at all. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the plan. I showed you a plan for my veggie bed 1. And it turns out that that's actually the plan for spring. So I've made some changes there. And I'm going to show you those. This is what the plan looks like now. Okay, so this is the plan that I showed in the last video. And this is actually a spring planting plan. So this is veggie bed number 1. And I was going to have 2 rows of tomatoes along this side, interspersed with the basil plants. And this is just 4 different varieties of tomatoes. And then I was going to have an area here for peppers, and this area over here for eggplants. And then I was going to have the chives on the side and on that side, because the chives help to disguise the smell of the vegetables, and they protect the bed from creepy crawlies coming in from the side. And then I was going to intersperse this interplant this with lettuces and onions. Last year the onions were fantastic in this bed, and I'm going to do the same now. However, when I looked at the actual work that I needed to do, I realized that this is not the right thing to do because of the planting zone that I am in. And what I need to do now is think about late autumn, early spring. So this is what I've actually done. I've got a lot of time. I've got about 3 months before I need to plant the tomatoes. So instead of the tomatoes, I'm going to plant a row of beetroots, a row of peas, and I'm going to string them up on the same trellis here. And then I'm going to have a number of radishes throughout, because they are great little growers, and they offer a lot of protection, and they attract pests away from the other veggies. I'm going to keep on going with the peppers. My peppers, I'm not going to over winter indoors. I'm going to overwinter them in this bed, and I'll show you what they look like right now. But I'm not going to be planting any eggplants yet. I'll plant the eggplants when I do the tomatoes in the early spring. So I'm going to use this for onions and for lettuces. All right, and then I'm going to interplant lettuces like I was planning anyway. I am going to be planting 2 new peppers. One is a habanero plant, and one is a jalapeno, however you want to pronounce that, pepper. Okay, and then very, very quickly, I did the same thing for veggie bed 2. Veggie bed 2 is my onion bed at this time of the year, late autumn to early spring. This is going to be occupied by onions, garlic, and 2 rows of beetroots. Okay, quite a simple bed to do. I've got stuff in there at the moment, but this is what it's going to look like. And then bed 3, this is the autumn planting. I've got beans growing here. I've got fava beans growing there. Those are broad beans. And then I'm going to have a mix of chards, bright chards, Swiss chard, and regular chard, some broccoli, some turnips, and some cabbage and kale. I'm going to have some spinach. So intercrop this very, very nicely. I've got a row of bush beans growing over here, or just starting to come up. And I am going to try cucumbers at this time of the year. It's early December, late November. I should have planted them early November, but I think because the weather's a bit funny, I still got time. And I will explain in the next video why I am planting cucumbers here. It has to do with the plant zone that I live in. Please watch that video when it comes out. So let me show you what the beds look like right now. Okay, as you can see, I've cleaned out the beds as much as I could. I've got this bed. As I said, I've got the peppers growing in this side of the bed, and I'm going to overwinter these peppers here. You can see they're already sprouting. I cut them back, I pruned them back, but they're already sprouting. Last year I did the same thing and I had a nice head start on the peppers. That section is going to go with lettuces, and I'm waiting for the lettuces to grow. I've got them in a seeding tray. You remember that's where I'm going to put the tomatoes. This is the tomato trellis here. But what I'm going to do in the meantime for the next 3 months is just grow peas up the trellis and use the time to get the peas. We had a lot of peas last year. I grew them in bed number 3, but this is empty until then, so I might as well use it for the peas. They're just starting to sprout. I have also put a row of beetroots in here, and they're just starting to come up now. Bed number 2 is going to be cleaned out because I'm going to put the onions in here, and the garlic has already been planted. You can see down here, that's the new garlic sprouting. The onions are in the cedar, and I'm waiting for them to sprout and grow. I'm going to harvest the cabbages, and I'm going to harvest the leeks prior to planting the onions. So that's a nice harvest coming here for us. The cabbages are doing amazing, but they're going to come out before the onions go in. And then in veggie bed number 3, I've got the beans growing over there. These are 8 climbing beans, or pole beans as they are sometimes called. And then I have bush beans sprouting here, and the bush beans are growing all along this first row here to here. And then I've planted cucumbers along this side of the bed, 4 sets of cucumbers, and I've also done some cucumbers at the end there. Let's see how that goes. The cucumbers are important because I want to try it out. I am in a Plant Hardiness Zone number 11B, and according to the theory, this is a good time to plant cucumbers in this hardiness zone. Please watch my next video on hardiness zone so that it may also help you. This section here, I'm going to plant a whole bunch of new chard. So the chard that I have in the trays are going to come here, and then I'm going to put the rest of the broccoli and the kale and so on, like I showed you in the plan, on that side of the bed. So I should have a nice harvest here during the month of January and February. The chard I've been harvesting all year, and they're quite small. These are the older ones, and I'm going to take these out as soon as the new seedlings have grown big enough. Okay, I think that does it. Back to the drawing board. Okay, so this is a shorter video than usual, but I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to publish a video in the next few days about planting plant hardiness zones, and I have a number of websites that give you advice in terms of what you should plant depending on what hardiness zone you're in. And I hope that it helps you, if you don't know how to use hardiness zones, to tell which plants you can use at which time of the year, or which plants you can plant at which times of the year. So if you liked it, press like. That really helps me with the videos. Click subscribe and the bell button to be reminded of the next video, which is going to be on the hardiness zones. Cheerio!